It's one of the biggest celebrity diet trends that's trickling down to grocery stores around the country, gluten-free foods. But do they really make a difference?
Hello, and thanks for watching the 12 o'clock news. I'm your anchor, Mary Strawn, and I'm your co-anchor, Jordan Weitzman. Today we'll be discussing the Gluten Free Fad. Yeah, we're here today to take a special inside look on celiac disease and the new gluten-free fad that's popping up in bakeries and grocery stores all over the nation. In a recent survey conducted by Discovery News, 29% of Americans were thinking of reducing their overall intake of gluten or going completely gluten-free. These people do not have any gluten sensitivity or celiacs, a genetic disorder that harms the villi in the small intestine. It seems that people are choosing the gluten-free diet for health-related reasons or wanting to lose weight. Really? That's interesting. Let's go to our specialist, Dr. Greer, to find out more about celiac disease and this new gluten-free trend.
Celiac disease is a disease that is considered both a malabsorption disease and an immune disease in response to the intake of gluten. Gluten is a protein that is processed from wheat and other related grains and is extraordinarily abundant in the food we eat. Whenever someone with celiac disease intakes gluten, the body's immune response begins to attack the cilia within the small intestine. The cilia in the small intestine are responsible for the absorption of a large majority of nutrients taken in through digestion. Each time a person with celiac disease eats gluten, the immune system eats away at more and more of the cilia, causing the small intestine to not be able to properly absorb nutrients. This can cause the body to become malnourished and can be a serious problem because no matter how much food you take in, your small intestine can't absorb the nutrients from the food. Once the person stops eating gluten, the cilia in the small intestine do grow back, but very slowly.
Thank you, Dr. Greer, for that fascinating insight on what celiac disease is. It seems that it can be quite difficult for one to be on a gluten-free diet, considering gluten is the natural glue portion that holds most wheat products together. To further our insight on how celiac can infringe on a person's life, we'll go to Maya Brown, who is currently interviewing Celine Becker, an 18-year-old suffering from celiac disease.
Hi, Celine. So, could you tell us how old you are and how you felt when you learned that you had celiac disease?
Sure. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 15, which is actually pretty common for celiac disease to figure it out later in life because it can accumulate. And at first when I learned, I was devastated, of course, because I was thinking of all the food I could eat. It's a very devastating diagnosis to receive. But also I was happy to finally have news of why I've been having all the symptoms I've been having. I had stomach aches and itchy rashes, and I was exhausted all the time. And so it was nice to know that I could finally start healing.
So can you tell us what's been the biggest change that you've been forced to make?
Sure. Well, the diet itself, of course, is a huge change to me because it's not just that I can't eat wheat or barley or rye or oats or all of those grains. It's that those things are in everything. I can't have ketchup. I can't have soy sauce. I can't have cream-based soups. I can't have salad dressing. And the more time I spend not eating gluten, the more foods I learn that have it. So it's always getting harder instead of easier actually for me. And I always read ingredient labels. I've become something of an expert at that.
So have there been any small changes that you've been forced to make that you would never have thought of before?
Sure. I can rarely eat out at restaurants or eat in a social setting because it's very difficult for people to have to work for my diet. And if it's made on the same place as a bread product, it can still have a stomachache. So if I do eat at a restaurant, I always have to pull over a chef or a manager and ask if it's okay. And it becomes something of a pain, so I just don't do it anymore.
All right, well, it looks like we have time for one more question. Can you tell us what an average day looks like for you in terms of what you eat?
Sure. Well, as I said, obviously I make all my meals at home. For breakfast, I could have eggs and a piece of fruit. Lunch, I would bring for myself no matter where I was going, and it may be a salad. I have special salad dressing that I can use that I've found. And dinner's usually a type of meat with rice and vegetables. That is pretty easy, the 3 meals. Where it gets tricky is actually snacks. The rest of my family doesn't have celiac disease, so most of the snacks in my house aren't gluten-free. And it makes it difficult to find food I can eat. Usually I try to buy a few things for myself to have for after school.
That's very informative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, Maya and Celine, for this informative interview. As our understanding of the gluten-free trend broadens, let's look more into this popular new food choices and gluten-free foods springing up all over the nation. Now to our correspondent, Nicole Hewitt at Whole Foods.
This is Nicole Hewitt here in the gluten-free aisle at Whole Foods Market. Foods claiming to be gluten-free means they do not contain a protein complex found in wheat, rye, and many other grain items such as oats. A gluten-free diet is a medically accepted treatment for celiac disease, though it has become quite popular in the United States amongst non-celiacs, and the demand for gluten-free products has increased. If you have a gluten intolerance or sensitivity, eating gluten can help promote damaged inflammation in the digestive tract. When it comes to non-celiacs, a gluten-free diet can be beneficial in making people truly aware of what they're eating and understand the labels. Eating gluten-free can also lead to a healthier diet filled with less processed foods, though there are cons that one must be aware of when eating a gluten-free diet that can lead to other health issues. Gluten-free products usually have higher levels of sugar and fat, which may lead to weight gain. These items are high in saturated fat, sugar, and sodium, just like other junk food, and often contain high glycemic refined ingredients like white flour and fillers like potato starch that can affect your blood sugar. In addition to all of this, gluten-free items lack fiber in normal sources and can lead to digestive issues. So before jumping on the gluten-free fad that has swept the nation, you might want to check with your doctor before starting a new diet that can ultimately put your health at a stalemate or worse risk than it was before.
Thanks, Nicole, for expanding our insight on this new, interesting gluten-free fad. It seems that going gluten-free may not be all it's cracked up to be. I guess it depends on how far you take the fad. True. Lucky for these people with celiac disease or other gluten-free allergies, they have all these new gluten-free foods that are popping up in grocery stores all over the nation. Thanks for watching. I'm Mary Strawn.
And I'm Jordan White. Wishing you all a good day.